This is the free motion quilting tutorial for leaf filler. This design is stitched by first coming up with a long wiggly line, and then you're going to stitch along the side of it, just kind of creating a very long wiggly leaf shape. Then go inside of that shape with kind of a wiggly stem inside of it, and then you're going to branch off and create the veins on either side of the stem. Take your time as you're travel stitching. You're travel stitching out and then back inside, out and back inside, and you want to make sure that your lines of stitching are right on top of one another. This is a little tricky to keep straight and consistent, and it's one of those things that will kind of make or break this design, because if it gets messy, it's not going to look as good. Of course, you can make it a lot easier by spacing out your veins, the veins of your leaf shape, quite a bit, so they don't have to be as close to one another as mine are. It will, of course, open up your design, so if you're wanting to keep things on a small scale, just make sure that you keep that in mind. So if you're going to space out your vines, it's also going to kind of open up your stitch and not look as dense from a distance. So it is fairly time consuming to fill the leaf, but creating the leaf itself, that shape, is very, very quick, and hopefully the combination of one thing slow and one thing fast will make this design not as time consuming to fill your whole quilting space. So to move on to the next leaf, all you're going to do is simply travel stitch along the edge of your quilting space and wiggle off in another direction. Now, of course, I've got this kind of weird area right here, and I'm going to fill it first, because it's important to keep this design consistent throughout. So I'm just create kind of an arch shape and went back and forth as though the rest of the leaf was kind of off camera for it. It was kind of on the section of the block that it hadn't been fully stitched. So you can see I branched out with my next leaf and I filled it too. And here's what it looks like as you've filled a good section of your design, and you can see the effect that you're getting. Now, sometimes I didn't create a full wiggly leaf shape. Sometimes I would just use the edge of one of my leaves as the side, and that will work really, really well too if you're wanting to butt them up against one another. And you can see also what happens whenever you start to shrink down your leaf shapes. When they get a little smaller, of course, it makes the texture a lot more dense, but it has a very, very beautiful effect. Of course, it's going to be quite time consuming to stitch, but that's okay. Just take your time and don't put this in a huge area where it's going to take you a million years to fill your whole quilt with it. And here's what it looks like whenever you finish leaf filler. To learn more about free motion quilting and get the tools and supplies you need to do this on your home sewing machine, check out daystyledesigns.com.